them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 782, Drive Away Dolls. I don't have any.
Well, I think this had a different title.
Well, yes.
And they definitely were like, what do you want to be like, Zach and Miri make a porno? What are you, crazy? We're not doing that.
It absolutely had a different title. So
I guess we know who the talented brother is now.
We'll get into it.
yes. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So before we get into it, let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. Quick shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, iHeart, all the places. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. It's greatly appreciated. You can also keep up to date with the show and things of that ilk throughout the week if you find us on Facebook at facebook.com/realspoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It is called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode with your Facebook, Twitter, etc. followers. And people who were kind enough to do so last week include Tom Dowdy, Travis Tewitt, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Richard Krotzer, Chris Files, Phil Timon, Ralph Tribble, Gabriel Lugo, Julianne Jordan, Chris Magic Man, Heather Sachs, Taylor Ward, Chris Olson, Matt Foley, The Real Pete, Ryan Terry, David Rojas, Dissect That Film, James Install, Ronnie Castle, In Session Film, The Film Bee, Geek to Me Radio, Mike, and Oscar, and Colby Mack. So thank you very much for sharing an episode. It is greatly appreciated. And also, don't forget, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/realspoilers, where for $5 a month, you get all sorts of bonus content, and we love you a long time.
All right.
Yeah.
And I would say for people that are finding us on YouTube now, if they leave a comment, that helps. The algorithm likes engagement. So likes, comments. So you don't have to say a review of the whole episode or anything like that, but just say.
Just chime in. You want to talk about a movie? Talk about
anything, or just a comment, or just, hey, love the show. We have had some new people that have found us on YouTube, I think, which is really cool. And they say, we're going back. Someone said they went back and watched 100 episodes after finding us. So that's nice.
Oh,
but
wow.
Just any kind of little comments like that. It just helps, especially when we post the video. It will feed it to more people if it gets engagement quickly, because that's what they want.
That's what they want.
That's what the beast wants.
That's right.
So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
So you're not wrong, Kevin.
This movie is bad.
It's bad.
Honestly, right now, it is on Rotten Tomatoes.
The critic score makes no sense on this movie.
Rotten Tomatoes.
It got a C from CinemaScore.
It's sitting at
67 or something. Yeah,
and that is solely.
That's exactly
solely because there are critics out there scared to death to say a Coen brother made a piece of movie.
Yep,
and this is a piece of.
I was thinking the same thing. This is not just mediocre. This is a bad movie.
It's bad.
I think
this movie is set in 1999, in my theory, because that's how long this script has been sitting in a drawer, because the other brother was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Because I'm thinking this one has some of the weird, quirky humor.
It reminded me a lot of Raising Arizona.
It wants to be.
Yeah. And that weirdness.
So I'm thinking that Ethan Coen, the director of this movie, is the one that has really weird ideas, and Joel Coen's like
tampers it down.
These are the ones that can work.
It's Lennon McCartney.
Yes.
Right?
Except they both work as solo acts.
Okay, they do to varying degrees of success, right?
Fair.
Paul McCartney, if left to his own devices, is writing old-timey vaudeville tunes. They're very
right? Wings wasn't vaudeville.
But they're very he gets into these very sing-song. He's like,
that's true.
This he's like,
yes.
Rattle and Pompey went to doopty. And boop boopy.
He does. That's very true.
He does that. And I love McCartney. I like McCartney better than Lennon. But left to his own devices, the dude's writing show tunes.
Right.
right?
Right.
And so,
It's like if I left Matt and Joe to do a podcast by themselves, all we'd get is horror.
right, yeah.
Someone's got to rein it in.
Wait a
So-
minute.
and so, but you do Lennon by himself,
And he lets his
it-
wife chime in and,
and it's
destroy
all
everything.
rock weirdness. Where
Did you ever
when you
see-
combine the two,
Yeah.
you get, you get
the Beatles.
You get the Beatles,
Right.
right?
Did you ever
Like,
see it was Lennon and Chuck Berry, and they were doing something together.
Yes, I have.
And it was like the one time, I think Lennon has said like Chuck Berry was one of his heroes,
for sure.
and they're rocking out together. It wasn't Johnny B. Good, it was something else.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this is on live TV. Out of nowhere, Yoko just starts doing some
Yeah.
and like starts squealing, and you could see the look on Chuck Berry's face where he's
He's
like,
like, yeah.
what is happening? It is hilarious to watch it unfold like on live TV.
She is very, and I don't subscribe to the theory that she broke up the Beatles, but she's very art for art's sake.
Yeah.
And I have no patience for that.
Right.
No,
She's a
like-
very artsy,
Yeah,
artsy,
like
She'll tell you what this painting means when it's
Right.
like it's just splattered paint.
yeah,
What are you
that's
talking
my
about?
drip cloth. But so like I agree wholeheartedly. I think
Yep,
that
yep.
like these two working in concert, like he's like, what if we did this wacky thing, and like half the time he's like, nope,
Yeah,
and
right.
throws it out, and the other half he's like, okay, but what
But
if we
this is
did
how-
it
yeah.
like this?
Yes.
because like Raising Arizona is
Oh, my God.
like one of my favorite movies.
Perfect.
It's
a perfect
like-
movie.
and I don't even know how you make a movie like that. It's
right.
It's so weird and
Yeah,
quirky,
but it
and like
works.
there are so many things in that movie that like if I was reading the script, I'd be like, this isn't funny.
Right.
But when I see it,
For whatever reason,
it's
maybe it's
son,
the actors, right?
You got a panty on your head, and like just and
Such a
but like
great-
finding the actors that
Yeah.
can find that tone and voice, and then finding all of them to be on the same wavelength to convey that. Like
And this
not
movie was
hard.
not on the same wavelength. That was
No.
and how aggressively unfunny was it?
I mean,
they
there
thought
were
they
moments
were
that I thought were
hilarious.
funny, but
I laughed mildly one time.
I think it got
I
me.
laughed at Curly when he says, "But we don't know but your name's Curly, right? Yeah, but we don't
Yeah,
know,
we
each,
don't know
other
each
that well."
other.
Like I laughed at that because that was a total Coen Brothers
Yeah.
type, their
Yeah.
weird comedy. But this movie was aggressive. Like they thought they were making the funniest movie ever, and
Yeah.
it is so like crickets chirping,
It's-
silent.
I
And
saw
I-
it in a full theater.
Same.
Oh,
like
wow.
it was
Same.
packed, and I was stunned. I walked in at 1:00 on a Saturday afternoon,
Oh.
expecting to be like one of 3 people, and I'd say this theater was
You know,
90% full.
That's insane.
But what did it look like? Like what was
was
what
the
was
older crowd?
no?
I don't want to say what it looked like.
Yep. That's
Oh.
exactly what it is.
It looked like a lot of lesbians.
Yep.
And it was met with almost dead silence.
Yeah,
Really?
I
So
could-
mine was I saw it at the Draft House. You can plug. You can
Ooh,
feel free
fancy.
to sponsor an episode. Alamo Draft House, St. Louis. I went at 5:00 yesterday. Same thing. It was definitely an LGBTQA plus crowd for sure.
Yeah.
And it got like the parts that they thought were funny. I did not think they were as funny, but it definitely got a reaction from
It got
folks in the theater.
Nothing from my crowd.
Interesting.
And I think like I really like I think one of my biggest problems with the movie is it feels like what a straight guy thinks lesbians act like.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Now he co-wrote this with his wife, so we just want to say that Traci Cooke. And she is the editor on a lot of Coen Brothers movies.
Okay.
And this movie has terrible editing, so I don't know what to make of that.
Was she an editor on this?
Well, I would presume they edited it together since she's an editor. I didn't. I just presumed it, so maybe not. But the Coen Brothers edit a lot of their movies, but
Oh,
she
right,
edits
right.
a lot of them too. She did "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and
I think Fargo is the best thing they've ever done. I love
Fargo's great. They made.
I-
I
Raising-
love. You
I
know
think-
what? Blood Simple.
Blood
I'm telling you,
Simple's
their
also
first Movie
fantastic.
just hits the gates. We talk about first-time directors. That movie's phenomenal.
Yep.
I
totally
really
agree.
like Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
it's a good
It's
one.
another one that's got a very quirky sense of humor where you're just
Very
like,
much so.
You're just like how I can't imagine reading that script and thinking this is going to be good.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
yeah.
way they present it,
Barton Fink.
I never cared for Barton
It's all
Fink.
right.
I like.
I know that-
John Turturro.
I do
a
like John
lot.
Turturro.
Yeah, I know it's like supposed to be a masterpiece, and it's just never
Was it
worked for me.
was it Simple Man?
That's the only one I don't like.
That's the one I don't like that one.
I liked that one. I never care. This is heresy.
Oh boy, you're gonna say Big Lebowski.
Well, okay, yeah. I also didn't care for that one.
I think that's overrated.
I also didn't care for Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think Big Lebowski is overrated.
I don't get it. I've watched it like three
I
times,
love
3 or
Big
4
Lebowski.
times at different points in my life, thinking
It's
like,
fine.
so many people love this movie so much. Like, what am I not seeing?
I have
and
the same.
I have revisited it in my 20s, my 30s,
Like
and my
maybe
40s.
as I get older, it'll
and
get
I'm
funny.
like, every time I'm just like, I don't get it.
I liked True Grit.
Yeah,
I like True Grit a lot.
Covered that on the show.
No
That's-
Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men is fantastic.
They won an Oscar for directing
That,
for that.
you know that the scene that gets played all the time is with Javier Bardem in the gas station.
sure.
And I forget how intense that scene is.
Oh, yeah.
When the guy's just like, "What kind of weather you got up there?" And he was just like, "Where?" And the guy's like, what?"
He's great. That movie, I love that movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Coen brothers have made phenomenal movies.
Absolutely.
And this movie, but you can just tell that it's got the weirdness to where there's no check on this weirdness. And tonally, it's very weird because, like, what was with the artistic LSD trips, kaleidoscope? What?
I was shocked at how long those went.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, you get like a.
Was that like filler? Because I didn't
I
have
don't
enough
know.
to make
That
the
was-
I
movie.
think it's a short runtime.
It
So
is.
I'm
It's like an
thinking-
hour and a half.
Tops.
It's an hour 24.
Yeah,
and
okay,
let me be
okay.
clear.
the saving grace.
That's one of the selling points.
So-
And I like the gal that played. Is it Marion? Is that the other gal?
You'll have to. I don't.
Sorry.
Geraldine Viswanathan.
She was in Cock Blockers,
Yeah.
which was like a kind of underrated rated R comedy.
She's charismatic as all get out.
I think
she's.
I think
Phenomenal.
Margaret Qualley is also. I like her.
I think she's. I like her.
don't
I
know
think
why
the
they gave her that
character-
accent.
I think the character is one of the most grating,
Yeah.
annoying characters in the history of cinema.
Yeah, I did not.
Katie was mad for the entire day. I made her to go see.
Oh
this.
my God! So was
Crystal mad?
She was mad. I mean,
I kept checking in on Katie. I go, "How's it going?" She goes, "Well, that movie really." Like she was mad at the movie.
she was so mad.
Okay.
at
I'm
this
glad I'm
movie.
single now. I don't have to worry about this
Yeah.
stuff.
That's so funny that she was.
I mean,
seriously,
like,
the entire day.
I've never seen her this angry
at a
film.
movie. We walked
Yeah.
out and she was so irritated. And I go, I mean, it's just a movie. You got out of the house hour and a half. She was not having it.
The accent that she was doing, I just
I'm sure she was like, "We burned a babysitter on
Yeah.
this."
I know.
That's fair, that's
yeah,
fair.
It's probably like the one time to get out during the weekend. But
I just rewatched Death Proof. I know that is kind of like one of Tarantino's least liked.
It's a lesser.
it's my
I
favorite.
mean, I liked it.
I mean, I
but
love
it's
that movie.
definitely a lesser entry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a scene in that movie where I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but there's a girl who is kind of set up to have to do something in the movie, and there's another character that kind of uses this very thick, fake Southern accent to trigger this thing that this girl is supposed to do. If that's not vague enough, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The accent that girl does in Death Proof the accent that Margaret Qualley does in this is almost identical,
Interesting.
and it is played for laughs in Death Proof, and it's supposed to be really bad, and it's not played for laughs in this, and it's really bad.
I think, because she doesn't really talk like that in real life.
No.
Margaret Qualley. And I think that she does a really good job acting in this movie. I don't think I lay no fault on her for this performance. I think the script is terrible.
Yeah.
And the editing's terrible. She does a good job, but that character is so annoying.
Yeah.
If you were that friend, I think you would have been
Yeah.
like, I'm out a long time ago.
I think another one of the things that I had difficulty with the movie is I felt like the actresses were too young. Like I felt like this would work better if the characters were older.
Let's see how old Margaret
Like, and I
Qualley
mean
is.
by older, I mean like in their 40s.
Oh,
like,
well, Margaret Qualley is 20, 94,
Oh, yeah. She's young.
right? Is that
Yeah.
20?
S-
No,
yeah.
30.
No. Oh, Yeah, because we're
Yeah, it's 2024.
that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
that was a weird moment where I was
Yeah.
like, no, wait.
Wait, what?
But yeah, I could see that. It's like a Thelma and Louise type
Yeah, like,
relationship.
That's definitely the vibe I feel like they were
More
trying
like
to go
older
for
and
as well.
grizzled,
But
not
they weren't-
young and naive.
yeah, they weren't giving that at all.
Right.
It just
Yeah,
didn't
because
feel-
Marion, like, I get the button up, I've been burned, I play by the rules, but I feel like that works better if she's like
been around a little longer.
40.
in her 40s,
Right,
not
right.
22 or however old she's supposed to be.
So she's 29 and she's 95. So
Yeah.
she's 29.
And then Beanie Feldstein, I think, is probably the same age.
And I think
93.
Beanie Feldstein was so. I mean, we love Booksmart,
Booksmart
God.
is
and
so
she's
good.
phenomenal in that. But again, with the right material,
Yeah.
she can be great.
Yeah.
The lines are so unfunny.
This
and
felt like it was written for
Felt like
Melissa
if that-
McCarthy.
Melissa
those
McCarthy
the bad
10 years
ones,
ago.
the
Yes.
ones that were written by her husband. No offense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I felt like that character should have been more like the bridesmaid's character.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
like, and-
that one is funny though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
What's
no, that
the-
one's
what's
great.
the one with
But
Bateman? That was identity theft.
yeah,
Whoa.
but
filmed
like,
in not St. Louis.
but like she like that for that cop role to work, she needed to be older,
Yeah.
tougher, grizzled.
Yeah.
And
she had
Beanie Feldstein is none of those.
no.
there's a scene where she's sitting in
Jail.
lockup,
Yeah.
and she starts yelling at the other cop, and I was like, if I were that guy, I would turn like.
I thought she was yelling at the guy that was.
No,
in the
she's
jail
got like
cell.
he's got like his radio on, and
What'd
she's
she yell at him for? I don't remember that.
so she's on the phone with Margaret Qualley, and the guy is like walking behind her to a filing cabinet, and he's got his radio turned
Oh
up.
yeah, turn that down.
And she like grabs him by the back and is
Yeah.
just like, I was like, what are you doing? Like
So, and this film, starring Pedro Pascal
for about 20 minutes.
for one scene.
No, not 20 minutes.
Coleman
but like 20
Domingo
seconds.
for 2 scenes.
Yeah. Matt
Oh my
Damon.
gosh, Matt Damon for
Miley Cyrus.
1 scene and a half. Yeah,
Yeah.
Miley, yeah. I mean, if that's not a misdirect of putting
It is
names on, like
also-
those were pretty bad.
When you reference Pulp Fiction,
I know who do they think they are? Matthew Vaughn.
I did think that. She's like, I saw this movie one time. I was like, you don't remember the name of Pulp Fiction? Like the biggest movie in 1994? Like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one, it starts with, I can't remember how it starts.
Pedro Pascal. in his
Oh
one
yeah,
scene.
and he's in this bar and he's freaking out. He's got this case in his hand, and it's very obvious that he's waiting for someone, and the person doesn't show up, and he goes to leave, and the bartender ends up coming out after him, and this was the moment where I was like, this is not what I thought this was going to be,
because the tonal shift.
And-
if you're
and
gonna
I-
make a weird, quirky,
but I think Fargo like does stuff with like gruesome violence,
but
right?
not as weird as putting the thing in and like
Yes.
twisting. I expect
Correct.
a cork sound to come out when the
Yeah.
blood. Like
Right,
they
right,
made
right.
it a Looney Tunes cartoon, which is fine if the whole movie is a Looney Tunes. But
right.
then the rest of the movie is pretty straight with some weird Coen stuff thrown in there. But just tonally, though, that first scene sets you up for a very different movie. You're
Yes.
thinking, well, this is going to be just total
The Dutch tilts
insanity.
and the coloring and everything. I was like, this is a strange. It was very strange, and I don't really know. I don't know. Because like I feel like Coen Brothers movies. Even I don't think Raising Arizona did like those wacky camera movements, right? Am I remembering those
I don't
wrong?
remember them being that
like
weird.
just the massive like hard Dutch tilts and like zoom ins
They
on.
had a lot of interesting camera work. I think it worked.
That's fair.
I mean, because they did the whole thing where like the guy on the motorcycle that is like, and like that camera comes in
Yeah.
and zooms and like tracks along the highway.
You're totally
and then
right.
He's just standing there and like,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
they did some very unique camera work.
That's
in
a good
Raising
call.
Arizona. The way the camera follows him through the store when he's stealing the
The diapers?
Pampers and yeah, like
so
Son,
this
you got pantyhose on your head.
So interestingly enough, I was looking at the cinematographer for this movie, Ari Wegner. They were the cinematographer on Zola, which Colman Domingo was also in, and that was a weird, like, kind of.
What was Zola?
That was about
the first movie based on a Twitter thread.
yeah, the girl that went to be a prostitute on Craigslist or whatever, and then
don't
got
think I ever
roped
saw
into
that.
this like
It's
drug.
a fun watch.
Okay.
It doesn't quite stick the landing.
Okay.
From like the narrative standpoint, like
It's
it just,
not as good as the Twitter thread.
it just kind of peters out.
It really
but, like,
isn't, but-
but
Okay.
it was a fun watch.
All right. All right.
So I was just trying to see, and I'm thinking there's the Colman Domingo connection. There's the kind of things go off the rails point of view of that movie, and
I just want to. Seeing hearing you talk made me think about this guy that was sitting next to me in this theater last night.
yeah.
I cannot stand the pretentious film goer. So watching watching all the previews or whatever, and then the trailer for that Sasquatch flick comes up,
Oh, I want to see that.
and it says, Ari Aster presents, and this guy goes, "Oh my gosh," and he's like exacerbated, and he's talking to his girlfriend, and she was like, he is the greatest
I need
filmmaker.
everyone to know that I know who Ari
That's
Aster
exactly what that was. And in my head, I was like, shut up. Like, he's not even directing it. He's just putting the money up for it
Yeah.
because it's a
That's the
weird
Jesse
movie.
Eisenberg.
Is that who's
Where
in
he's
that?
the
It's like the Sasquatch
It's like a
family?
Yeah, I really.
Yeah,
It was at a film festival. It got really good reviews. I want to
Oh,
see
man.
it.
It looked very weird.
I want to see good.
But it was just like, okay, everybody knows
it
at this
on.
point who Ari Aster is. You don't have to announce to the entire theater
Yeah.
that you are a fan of Ari Aster or how many times you watch Beau is Not Afraid. Shut up.
especially at Alamo Draft.
I know. We all know.
Yes.
We're all here for the
We've all
same.
seen
We've
it.
all
We've
seen it.
self-selected. We get it.
Right. So,
So
yeah.
we don't know what's in this briefcase.
We
that
don't
Pedro
know.
has.
Yeah. We
And
do
he
see
dies
this
in
guy
a comically
run
violent way.
up with a hacksaw. And I was like, well, okay, that makes sense. So then we flash to.
Okay. Do we ever find out why cut his head off? Is there ever an explanation?
No,
And why
because
people would keep taking that as an item they need?
I thought it was like a burden of proof. They're like, we killed him. Nobody
I mean,
else
he got
has
the,
this.
He got the stuff back.
But if
I
we got
mean,
the stuff back, I don't.
totally hear you.
So that made no sense to me.
None.
An homage to Sam Peckinpah. That's all I can think.
Oh,
But like,
man, maybe.
I mean, bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia.
Yeah, no, I
that's
hear- yeah.
all I got.
but why keep it on ice and carry it around, and then why take it in the end? Like, you know why? To get that gag at the end.
Yeah.
I
Head rolling.
guess, yeah.
Like, there's no other. So
Yeah,
to
they
me-
wrote the punchline first.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the whole movie
How do we
feels
get
like
there?
that.
Yeah,
The
that's
whole
fair.
movie feels like that.
So then we cut.
was a suitcase full of dildos.
And that does kind of feel like Coen Brothers esque.
Yeah.
Like, like Fargo does this thing where you get the ending you want, but it's just a very weird way to get there. Or you think the bad guy's going to get away with the thing, and then he opens the case and it's trash. So like the entire time playing with the idea that there's something in this case and the reaction. And again, I thought it was money because when they opened the case
Well, because they open the case
and
then immediately in the next scene they're staying at way better hotels.
she's got a swanky hotel, and if you look at her wallet, it's full of cash.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, like
But
it's
then
just
they're using a credit card at the hotel.
right.
And that's how she says she pays for everything. I did think that was kind of a funny line of like people not knowing how credit cards work.
In
she's like-
1999?
She's like the rainbow, and she's like, but don't you have to pay that back eventually? And she's like,
Yeah, well, I also like
Theoretically.
I like what the clerk is. She's like, so the rainbow card gives a donation to LGBTQ.
Yeah, she said transgender, and I'm like,
She did.
I don't
That-
think anybody in '99 was saying trans. If the polite
Nope.
thing at that point was probably transsexual.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't even think the T had been lumped in.
Oh, maybe not.
I
Yeah.
did think doing the whole LGBTQ whatever was a very modern phrase for
Yeah.
20 something.
Right.
Like it didn't seem written in the way that.
No.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In a movie, can you kind of allow updating for modern audiences?
I think you
I'm
could-
just
I
saying,
think you can.
If this weren't already a bad movie, I'm not sure I'd be like, oh well, they didn't. Get
I think
that.
something like that is reasonable.
Because then people modern audiences will hear that and be like, I know what that means.
It'd be
or, "I
different if it was
support
like we're in
that."
1999 and they're using like an iPhone 15. You're like, well,
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
especially because other than the fact that they didn't have smartphones, nothing about this movie felt like it was
No.
set in the '90s.
no,
nothing.
nothing.
I mean nothing.
I never, other than, they had an old car, but people could theoretically have an old car.
I mean,
now.
it was really just an excuse so they weren't trackable.
Yeah.
But then they were. because he was like, I tracked your credit card.
But it
Yeah,
was
I-
like old school tracking of like,
Yes,
oh, they
yes,
used
yes,
a credit
yes.
card. We found them, not just like, well, do find my iPhone. Okay, they're in Tallahassee.
I would love to. Well, I guess if you're working for a politician, you have government connections. But I'm just like, I would love to know how Colman Domingo has access to credit card processing locations.
Well, they never really told us who he was.
Yeah, that's what I
so
mean.
He
So if he's
could be.
working
He could
for-
also
Service or-
work for the government.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
because it has to do with the politician. So
It's just a plot device.
yeah, that guy might be Kang.
I think
He's-
Coleman Domingo
he's
is
the rumored,
great.
Yeah,
He
he's
is-
the rumored.
They're just gonna recast it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought they were
John
gonna
David
s-
Washington's the one they're talking to.
Oh, is that right?
I thought they were just gonna scrap.
They're
the
going to
idea
scrap
entirely.
I think they're going to. Well, they can't. I mean, the character is front
mean-
and center in the whole thing.
They could.
I guess they could.
They could pivot.
They
if
could.
they
I
wanted
think.
to.
I think the next Avengers is no longer called the Kang Dynasty.
I thought it
They
was.
took
Which
that-
makes
no,
me-
they took it out.
No, they took it out, which
Okay.
makes me think that's why I thought it was a pivot.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, I
I
guess-
heard they're looking at John David Washington. I
gotta
think
tell
that'd
you,
be great.
I love that character. The character of Kang.
Oh,
Not the
you don't
other
love
guy.
John David Washington?
Oh no, he's great.
He's good, right?
Yeah, he is good. The other one's not.
And
Jonathan Majors.
they fired the Rick and Morty guy. So, I mean, what was I saying after Ant-Man Quantumania? The thing I said was they're getting this guy to write the 2 Avengers movies.
right. They're like, hey,
Anymore.
can we get the Russos back?
I'm glad they
What are
dropped that.
What are they
'cause,
doing?
I mean, he couldn't. Quantumania was such a waste, and it was not funny.
No.
So
Like this movie.
Hey, there you go.
I'll take Quantum Mania over this.
I would absolutely watch
I
would
Quantumania
daily.
over this.
I would take Madam Web over this because it's fun.
Madam
to,
Web is the kind of movie that's fun to hate on.
Yes.
Yeah,
where
right,
this
right,
is
right.
just like none of this is working.
And-
I think it's offensive. I
Well, then they do this whole scene right now where like it's Margaret Qualley and some other woman, and the way it's shot, I was like, this is, I don't know, man. Like it's shot from her, she's going down on this gal, and it's shot from Margaret Qualley's POV, and I don't know, it just seemed very
male gaze.
yes, the
Oh,
whole
and I
thing.
think probably because it was. Now I did appreciate though. Okay, so this movie centers around 2 lesbian characters, and it's very heavily. I mean, you have Beanie Feldstein, who's also in a relationship with the Margaret Qualley character, and they break up at the beginning. So there's a lot of the LGBT, characters and world around this, and I appreciate that they didn't shy away from that stuff. Like
For sure.
like
No, yeah.
to their credit, in the second scene of the movie, and it opens with this lesbian sex scene, and it's like they
But it
didn't go like,
felt-
oh.
But it felt like it never felt authentic. Right?
That's kinda how I felt.
It felt very showy. Like,
Look what I'm
aren't-
doing.
Aren't we crazy? Aren't we edgy? It never
Yeah.
felt like it was coming from an organic place of like, let's tell a story
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
people who are in this community.
One,
Yeah.
I think that's too because the film is so weird and quirky and goofy. That like,
Written by a
and this character,
55-year-old straight guy.
well, right, but this character is just hooking up and banging. She's not.
If a girl, is that a thing?
I guess so. I mean, she's in a relationship. She's cheating on Beanie Feldstein with, this other friend that you see tagging along at the next scene.
Right.
And she's just hooking up. So, like, to me, it was that quirky Coen thing, and the fact that she's just, again, like, just making it like, well, guys can do it in movies, right? They cut to a guy hooking up and
That's
just
true.
banging.
It's
so
it's
I've
a
never really
fair statement.
I've never really seen that in a scene. Usually, if there's lesbian sex, it's either that artful, in the shadows with the music and whatever,
Right, right.
or
it's for guys to rub one out to.
Exactly.
But
you're
you
not
don't-
wrong.
Yeah.
you don't really see hookups like that in movies. And so I don't know. I just appreciate where I'm like, well, that's something that they just, and they didn't really address it. It was just like, oh yeah,
It was just
she's-
is what
she's
it was.
banging, she's hooking
Yeah,
up.
which
So,
is honestly,
still a bad movie. That does not mean it's a terrible movie. But
they go to this bar, and everything about this scene just felt weird, and not in like a fun way, right? Like I think that there's
it feels off.
it. Yeah,
The whole movie feels off.
It doesn't feel.
Authentic.
That's exactly
The
it.
whole thing feels like
Like a 60-year-old dude was writing about a
Yeah,
world he
it-
knows
it-
nothing of.
yeah, like I just like
It's-
look, man, I could read the sports page and then tell you about what happened in the world of sports,
Right.
But I would never understand it.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Like, and like that's what this felt like. This felt like this is what a straight guy thinks the world of lesbians is like.
And I'm not trying to be ageist or anything, but Ethan Coen was born in 1957. His wife and co-writer Tricia Cooke was born in 1965. And I think that they're writing, they're, let's just say around the 60-ish age, whatever
Yeah.
those add up to be. And they're writing about 2 20-somethings it just doesn't seem like they
in
understand
this
the world.
Well,
It doesn't-
it's
Here's the thing. This is Ethan Coen's first film without his brother. Joel Coen went and did the Macbeth on Apple TV, and that was a great looking movie, and they consolidated it and condensed it down. And that also starred Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. And I think that Joel Coen is the more talented brother. I think that's
it's hard to deny
I
that.
feel like I couldn't make it through Macbeth. I bailed.
yeah.
It
Oh,
looks
really?
great, but like it's a snooze. Now I will also say
What's Macbeth?
I don't like Shakespeare.
Yeah,
there it
like,
is. I
so
couldn't even. I
at
wasn't
its
gonna.
core-
I wasn't even gonna
And
attempt it.
they even like cut it up to make it more palatable.
for sure.
of a-
And I really think it's one of those. This is one of those situations where the sum or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Right, right.
Like, because this isn't an incompetent film.
No.
right? Like it, but it's just the things that it's doing. It's just.
This feels like this. Honestly, this feels like something that I would have found in like
The dollar bin?
Well,
Yeah.
no, but like I'm thinking back to like 94, 95,
Yeah.
right? With the mom and pop's video. Well, I guess it's even later there. When the mom and pop's video store still existed, right?
Yeah.
And you're walking down the indie aisle.
This feels like that rush of movies
Yep.
you got right after
Pulp Fiction.
Like it feels like it wants to be Go or
Yeah, oh, man.
or Killing Zoe.
Excellent
or
call with
like
Go.
it's that it feel, and which is also why, and I don't think this is actually true, but why it feels like this script has sat in a drawer for 30 years. But it feels like one of those type of movies. And here's the thing: almost all of those movies were bad.
Yeah, I
liked
liked Go.
Go was okay. Go was good, but
I like that so much that I bought 2 copies of it accidentally.
Why? Oh,
I
didn't hear
bought
that
one
second
at
part.
like Best Buy or Circuit City or something, and then I bought another one, and I went home to alphabetize it when I had shelves up and enough to not be in a corner.
at one point I had like 8 VHS copies of that movie.
Of Go?
Because I worked at the alt rock station at the time.
Yeah?
and they
That soundtrack.
and they kept giving us. They gave us those movies to give away.
Sure.
and Then, like nobody would ever come pick them up. And then at some point I was cleaning the stuff out of they ended up in the trunk of my car, and I had all these copies of Go.
Cases of Fago and
Yeah.
But I came home to put it on the
copies
shelf,
of Go. It's like, damn
and
it.
I'm like, oh, I already have that, and of course the first one wasn't even open.
Who's that? Who's in that? Who is that girl?
Oh, I can't even remember.
It's no,
but
isn't it?
I liked it.
Dawson's Creek, right? Isn't it
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes?
That sounds right. I
that
just
right?
can't remember. It's been a
think that's
long
right.
time, but I liked it back then.
Yeah.
wanted to
that's-
buy it twice.
That's exactly it. Like there was that run of movies that had that look and tried so
What was that
hard.
movie with Jay Moore that was around that
It
time
was like
period?
PCU. I don't know.
No.
Oh, there was one with Jay Moore.
There was one that also had that 90s art indie type feel with Jay Moore in it. I cannot
man.
think of
Was
what
that was that the
You're gonna say it. It's gonna.
something Denver, Dead in Denver? Or,
Oh, not Fear. Something to do in Denver when you're dead.
yeah.
that's not the one I'm thinking
That's-
of.
That's
but-
another one.
That
That
is
is
another one.
Okay.
Yeah,
movies,
but that's the Dylan. Not Kevin Dillon. The other one. Matt Dillon.
Dillon?
I think that's Matt Dillon.
Okay.
I think the other one.
So
The one that is still working.
so it ends up
the
that
real one.
Yeah, so they had this idea. There's this company, there's this program that's like a takeaway car, where if a car renter dealership wants to get a car from point A to point B, they will hire someone to drive said car from point A to point B. So he gets a call, this Curly, which he's my favorite character in the movie just because he's so weird, says, he gets a call for a car to go to Tallahassee. Our girls, Margaret Qualley and is it Geraldine, and who's the other one? What are their real
Margaret.
names?
Oh, the character names?
Marlene and
Marion and Jamie.
Marion and Jamie walk in and just so happen to want to take a car to Tallahassee. So he's like, great, gives them the car. They start driving. All of a sudden, 2 heavies walk in and ask for the car, and they realize that they have lost the car that also had the briefcase, which we now know holds an array of dildos.
We will find out later.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I'm just going to do it now. I don't give a shit.
It's fine,
Yeah, an array of dildos.
Would you call that guy not J.K. Simmons?
Yes.
I'm just curious. If
yeah. But I've seen that guy's
You've
been
seen him
around.
before. Joey Slotnick is the actor's
Yeah.
name. He plays one half of the Goons.
Is that really what they're
He's
called?
Arliss, and C.J. Wilson, the guy that always gets beat up and stuff, is Flint.
I liked that character as well, where he's like, I initially liked them where he was like, just talk to them.
Yeah.
And then he gets beat up
I like
by
the idea. I don't think it was executed very well, but I like the idea of the two goons coming in and one being like, just talk to him, one being like strong.
But that's kind of been
Yeah.
a Coen Brothers thing where like the goons are doofuses.
I feel like they really wanted Steve Buscemi.
Oh yes.
And he took a look at this script.
He was
and
like,
said,
absolutely
"No."
Yeah, he's like, actually, I'm better friends with the other brother.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go fight fires instead. That's I'm gonna.
Thanks for the help, the career help. But,
Yeah, right.
No, we're good.
So now it's basically the girls are unknowingly on the run from these people. We don't really know who they are, just goons, I guess. And
But they have no idea that they're in any danger. So
Right.
they're
None.
clueless to the whole thing. And the goons have to stop off and talk to everyone. So they first go to Curly at the
right,
driveway.
beat up Curly.
And this is like such the tired cliche of you gave the thing to the wrong people. They show up going like, we've got the car to Tallahassee, but I already gave the car to Tallahassee.
So somebody going to Tallahassee.
And
they're
so they
like,
have to
"What?"
track him down, and now there's no phones to track, and so
Right.
they're like, let's go question everybody and where they.
Yeah, so they used it's Feldstein or is it Beanie? Beanie Feldstein, not Beanie Hill.
Yes, Jonah Hill's sister.
Yes. They put her down as a reference, so our goons go and pay her a visit. And we don't know what she does for a living initially.
Yeah.
So these goons come in
Unless you've seen the trailer.
that's really?
I didn't know
Where
that.
she literally states her profession.
Oh.
Because that was a shock to me too, because I had never seen the trailer.
Yeah, so
for
she
this,
just
and,
beats up the one goon.
and this is where I thought it was the weird Coen quirkiness. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm like, why can this character? And I don't get me wrong, I liked the idea of this. I liked
Yeah.
that she was beating the goons up because I'm like, why? This is bizarre. Okay,
Out of nowhere, right?
yeah.
Like she maces one and then puts him in a chokehold and then starts choking him out. And I do like this is a funny line where he's like, he's not going to hit a woman. Like, can you just let him go? He's just going to pass out anyway. And I was like, I like that. Where this guy, his moral code is so intense.
Yeah.
That even while
though he's a tough guy,
Yeah,
he's
right.
still not going to hit a woman.
And
well,
see-
even while he's getting his ass kicked, he's like, no, I can't do it.
But with the reveal of her being a cop, I liked it less. I go, I want her to just be able to kick their ass with
Oh,
no,
sure,
because
sure,
that's
sure.
weird. And I'm like, okay, now that's the Curly was the closest to a Coen Brothers character that I can think
Yes.
of with that dry, don't ever explain it or why he's weird or say that he's weird. It's just that's how these
That's just
characters
how he is.
operate in this world.
Yeah.
And I liked the idea of her being able to kick ass with no explanation and the goon not be able to, and him to fail and get beat up at. I figured he'd just get beat up at every place they went
Right,
to. And,
right.
But anyway, yeah. But when I found out she's a cop, I'm like, oh well, that makes sense.
Well, now she's
I
out trained.
know.
Of course she could beat this
Yeah.
guy up. So she, they ask where she's going or a picture of Margaret Qualley. And of course, she's the scorned lover. So she tears a picture in half and writes, love will bite you in the ass, and hands it to these guys. This whole time,
That might
though-
have been the only other time I laughed when they go to the juke joint.
Ah, man, I
don't know
like
what-
that a lot.
I don't know what that guy said, but at the end, and that's true. Love will bite you in the ass.
But I mean, the problem was, I was like, oh, this is from Animal House.
What's that?
That whole scene is an Animal
I don't
House.
remember that. Where'd they go? And
They went. Didn't they go to?
They go to like a club.
Yeah.
Which was based on a club in East St. Louis.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's
mind
all
if we dance with
with
your
your
dates?
dates.
Oh.
And of course, they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. But no, I do like that. And I also appreciate that they didn't double down on like the needle scratch,
Yeah.
where these two obviously white dudes are in the wrong club.
Yeah.
And there's nothing where like all of the people in the bar stop to look at them, which I feel like in a movie like this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it's the jokes are so
Yeah, sure. What is the song they played like 3 times though? Where I'm like, man,
Oh, I don't know.
they must have paid for the rights to this and wanted to get their use. They played
Was
some
it in the
song.
club?
No, but throughout the movie, they used a needle drop more than once, and I feel like they did it a few times. Where I'm like, they're getting their money out. Maybe I'll think of it. But I just,
was it the Joan Jett song?
which one is that? Remind me. If I heard it, I would.
I don't know.
Trust me, I was not. I forgot this movie pretty much
Because they played it.
no big deal. There was a song they used more than once, and I hate that in the movie when they reuse a song without
Yeah.
a thematic purpose or comes around at the end
Oh,
for
Blue
something.
Bayou?
Yes, they
Yeah.
just kept using
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, this okay, we get it. Like that was it though.
Yeah. Which that's a Linda Ronstadt song.
No, there was the only reason I thought of
I
Pat.
don't know that anyone in 1999 was listening
To
to
Linda Ronstadt?
Blue Bayou on vinyl.
That's fair. That's fair.
Not a fan of the song in multiple uses unless it has like a real
Sure.
good punch to it. Where you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. No. So our girls are traveling across the country. Of course, Margaret Qualley is just screwing everything up. She wants to take all these different detours when our other character just wants to get to Tallahassee to see her aunt.
Yeah, I want to go see the biggest Dixie cup, and I want to stop at this
She's
gay
like,
bar.
no, it's a straight shot. Dear. So they blow out a tire is what happens, and they pull over to the side of the road, and
That was horrible. That car wreck scene was terrible. With the shaking camera, and then it cuts to them like pulling
in the
off
car.
the road.
Oh, I thought when like the camera angle of them in the car where they were like bouncing from side to side.
Yeah, that was it.
God.
The whole thing, the tire blowout scene, the look of it, to where they're like, okay, so if we just shake the camera and you guys go whoa, and then they pull over, and it's just like we have again the absurdity of it. If they did this,
It
big
was like
reaction,
when the Starship Enterprise got hit.
yeah. But I thought the reaction
Yes.
of them in the car and everything to a blowout, where it wasn't like they were like, we don't have the budget to make a crazy car scene with a bunch of traffic, and that would be a scene you generally see, a comedic scene where cars are swerving out of the way,
Right.
doing crisscrosses, and people are getting in accidents around you. Like they wanted that.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they couldn't, and so they're like, act like, oh my god, this is crazy, and we'll do some B-roll. Never got the B-roll.
Never got the B-roll.
And then they pull off the side of the road with this flat tire, like nothing, no big deal.
Nope, no big deal. So they go to check the spare, and they open the spare is, I guess, there, but also there's this briefcase, and I do like where our one character's like, is that smoking? What is that? And then of course they find the head of Pedro Pascal in the dry ice.
The reason I don't like that is because if she says is something burning, you would smell it. So I mean, I get that there's like
burning implies you're smelling it.
Correct.
I don't know why.
All you gotta say is what's smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really like that. Like, is something burning?
Dry
And
ice is.
You would know if there was creating that much smoke. So I don't know. It's just
Also, the bottom of that bag would have been frozen. Like that's how dry ice works. It
Yeah.
just freezes everything around.
It looked like it was there were just ice cubes. It looked like I know they go to a hotel later, which checks out with this logic. But if you look next to Pedro Pascal's, there's
you're right.
refrigerator ice cubes.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That would be melted.
It would be.
In a trunk of a car.
Yes.
I don't know what does dry ice look like. I've never
Dry
actually
ice
seen
is like
Cubes. Right?
kind of, but like I think it starts as a cube and you just kind of like chop it up.
it. Yeah. I just
with like
assume that's what dry ice looks
No,
like.
dry. It's definitely not as clear. Like it's not see through. Dry
Right,
ice is not see through. But you're right. This was like freezer ice.
I mean, it had the round like moon, shape.
Yeah.
It looked like a Frigidaire ice cube.
Right,
And
right.
I just thought, well, they've been driving cross country for a day. It would all be melted if it's if it's ice cubes
In a car
There wouldn't be
in the summer.
So it's just dumb. It's stuff like that is so stupid, and it would be so
No,
easy.
it's not the summer.
Oh,
Because when they show the magazine that Matt Damon's on the cover of,
Yeah.
it says December 99.
They're watching A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
that would make sense. That would make total sense. Call back to last week's episode, folks.
But they're having a barbecue too, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
What time? Where are we? So they go to this diner and they have the briefcase with them and they have the head in the hat box. And they
Also, if I may, if I had just discovered a head in the trunk of my car and a weird briefcase, would you go to a public place to open the briefcase knowing that the other thing was a head?
Yeah.
I would have done it in the trunk.
Maybe just check it out before you. I just am not sure of why oh my God, we found a head. Let's go to the diner and open it up. And also, I thought about the people around them. Just imagine two people sitting in front of a briefcase like this, next to each other, and then opening a briefcase. Like, do you ever think in movies like what real life on the third party would look like with this? Like, what a weird happening. Everyone would be staring at them. What are you doing?
It's all. I mean, it is the diner scene in Pulp Fiction, right? Like, what about those other diners? Like, what's going on? What's going on through their head when Jules starts talking that dude, Tim Roth down?
I think for someone with such a storied movie career, there's a lot of really weird script and directing things in this film.
But I also I thought about this while I was watching it because I was not engaged at all. Sometimes I think that we've seen this happen before, where a guy or a director or an artistic person gets their head so far up their ass that they think that they can do whatever they want and people are going to show up for it. And I think that's kind of where we were here. I think he thought, I'm Ethan Coen.
Those you talk about, and you know what
I mean? Like that.
Oh, for sure. But you talk about the pretentious art house stuff. Those kaleidoscopic,
Golly,
experimental, I don't know what else you would call it, but that was like the epitome of head up your ass.
Yes.
Because you could tell that it was like, oh, look how artsy that was. With
Right.
It was
If your movie had actually came out in '99,
Yeah.
maybe we'd feel that way.
Was there kaleidoscope stuff in Natural Born Killers? Am I wrong about that?
That sounds familiar. I mean, he is wearing the woodstocky leather.
Maybe it's just the glasses.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
that's
it
just
doesn't
what
have a
is.
coat with the leather.
Yeah, maybe.
Dangly
I just
things
feel like those
They
scenes.
do a lot of weird, dreamy kind
Don't
of
they?
stuff, though. Yeah.
The
Okay.
color. It is very what's his facey. The director.
Oliver
Stone.
It's very Oliver Stone with the weird.
That might be the lowest ranked Tarantino creative thing for me. I do not like that movie at all.
Oh, just because he wrote the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't fault the guy. Like, he's trying to get
Makes you
something
feeling
made.
better. He didn't like it either.
Great. Great. I don't feel as
Yeah,
bad.
and that's.
I
I
don't
never
know.
really
I-
got that movie.
No.
I know that
not
it's like a
good.
big.
I don't like it.
I never really
I
understood.
think
the
it's
appeal.
another one of those Pulp Fiction knockoffs, right? We're going to get an A-list
Is
director.
it a Pulp Fiction knockoff
If
when
the
the
guy
guy
that
that
wrote
wrote
Pulp
Pulp
Fiction
Fiction
wrote
wrote
it?
it?
But I mean, I think that's why it got made.
Fair enough.
Like, you
well,
know
it
what
got
I mean?
made before
Oh, was
Pulp
that? I
Fiction.
thought it was before.
Was it before?
Yeah. Because
Because Pulp Fiction's '94.
he sold True Romance and
Natural Born
Natural Born Killers before he did
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
I know he sold them before because I mean that's how he financed it.
Yeah.
he like broke it up into chunks. But
Oh.
Well, what
You
year
think
is
that-
Natural Born Killers? I thought it was before too.
Natural Born Killers, I think, is 90.
it's also '94.
Okay. So I wouldn't. So it can't be a responsive thing. It's just he wrote the
yeah,
script.
I guess it
and-
just came
It
out.
got
yeah.
made in response to
I
Pulp
don't
Fiction.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, to
Oh, I
come
guess
out
that's
together,
true.
you'd
Maybe it
have
got
to
made
get,
in response to Reservoir Dogs.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
He had
True
Heat,
Romance is way
and they
better.
were like, oh, let's.
Yes, exactly. True
But they
Romance is a
opened the
better
case,
movie.
and we don't know what's in there. They
Right.
do, and I go,
They-
oh my
why
God.
don't they just-
I go, if we never find out what's in the briefcase, if they're doing that thing, do not even try to Pulp Fiction this. You are not Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Don't do it.
You know, we're just gonna get out of the way. It's a case of dildos. It's dildos of influential people.
Because
So
I guess
like,
Miley Cyrus casted everyone that she slept with. Would
that,
there be
yeah,
detention?
she kept the memento from all of her old men. Is really what that was. So you've got like the senator played by Matt Damon. You've got the
An unnamed CEO.
who I guess it doesn't. In '99, it wouldn't have been Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. Well, I guess it could have been.
Could have
Bill
been
Gates.
Gates, but
I couldn't really draw any parallel like
A
that.
Supreme Court justice. Where I was like, are we saying that
I'm assuming that was supposed to be Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas
That's
has
the
a
only-
Clarence Thomas has a massive dick?
That's the only relevant one I thought of, but then I'm like, I don't know.
But like, I just see,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But there was actually a rock groupie that did this.
oh
She was
really?
actually, her nickname
Oh.
was literally Plastercaster. Yes, that's how much thought went into this. But
I didn't know that.
yeah, and she would take molds of the rock star's penis.
And they were cool with it.
Oh.
I mean,
I guess you're right. It depends on the penis, I guess.
yeah.
Oh,
And so yeah,
So
she'll,
it's actually based in a little bit of reality. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
because she'll tell you who's
packing and who's not.
yeah.
Huey
So
Lewis, baby.
That one at
Huey
the
Lewis
Huey
is
Lewis.
packing.
That's right.
Peter Frampton, not so much.
Good.
Why do you have such animus towards Peter Frampton?
Doesn't he like? Is it with kids? Like, isn't he? That,
No,
who am I thinking of?
Pete Townsend.
That's it.
So
Used
did I
the
say-
I was doing research thing.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, and got out of it.
Oh.
Then for whatever it's worth, he never seems to have gotten busted for it again.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I was doing. Who does Reese? Never mind.
yeah.
Let's clear
come
Peter
on.
Frampton's name though.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Peter,
Peter
Frampton.
Frampton is a fine, upstanding citizen
As
with
far as we know,
a small penis.
I gotta tell you, we should just preface. As far as we know,
As far
if
as we
anything
know.
comes out
According to-
post this episode,
according to
That's why
Plastercast.
his album was called Frampton Comes Alive Legally with the parentheses.
legally.
So
So yeah, this
Oh,
is
so
she
that-
played
the
by
brief-
Miley Cyrus.
yeah, that briefcase though, the one at the end was so long and skinny. Did you know?
I did
They
see
never
that one,
addressed
yeah.
it, but it
Looks
is
like a
so
pencil.
ridiculously long, and that was the only humorous thing I thought really about
Right,
that.
right,
It's just
right.
like what?
So the girls get tracked. They end up meeting. You know, they get kidnapped. Not kidnapped, but they get
Forget
taken
about
by.
the soccer orgy. Would
It
an
wasn't. They were
entire
just making out.
would an entire soccer club do that? I mean, I
I
don't know. That
feel-
seems like a weird
I feel like
fantasy
the
thing.
law of averages.
There would be at least one straight girl on the
But
team.
it's like the entire team,
Yeah.
and they just all make out.
And
I'll
again,
make out. Or he's like, hey, you know what's funny?
Like, is that a dude fantasy? Like, oh, at the sleepover, they're all doing
Right,
it.
like
Like,
I mean, there were always the that's a 70s rated R comedy joke.
Yeah.
Is that the guys would spy on the girls at the sleepover and they'd hit each other with a pillow and their t-shirts
Their
with no
underwear,
bras
yeah.
and whatever, which never happened. I had a sister.
Were you there?
I mean, I had a sister.
Oh, you cut the hole in the the
No,
fence. And
when she was old enough. Let's preface that she's 3 years younger than me, so I'm just making sure that is also on the record. When they were old enough, so they end up the stupid soccer makeout circle.
So they tell the guys that they went to a juke joint, and they go in the opposite. The goons went in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
and the guy that talks to people, the not J.K. Simmons, is like trying to be all nice to them and see you get the right information. And they're all like, bye.
Yeah, right.
And
And
like, it's just
they're driving on this.
Would you like
back
a
road.
partial list of the rock stars she did casts of?
Yeah.
sure.
So-
better than talking about this movie.
Jimi Hendrix.
Does it give a stat?
Are these
I'm
ranked
curious now.
Ranked from?
I'm on Wikipedia. Then
Oh,
I'm
probably
not
not.
getting sizes here. I'm sure it's out there.
Go to Mr. Skin.
So Eric Burden from The Animals. I'm just picking out names I recognize. Wayne Kramer from MC5. Let's see.
MC5, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just like,
Is Huey Lewis on there?
I don't know if he was officially one or not. I like. It's funny. Like a lot of these are like from bands I've heard of, but not necessarily.
It's like a
big
guy
names.
in the band.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like Tony Stevens from Foghat and Savoy Brown. And then like somebody from the Love and Spoonful, somebody from the Kinks, but not one of the Davies. Somebody from the Mothers of Invention.
That's such a weird thing to. But I guess they kind of play it up in this one, right? Like the reason why you would have them, where like we find out that basically she did this before, that Miley Cyrus character did this to this Matt Damon's character before he had even thought of being a senator, and they obviously allude to him being president.
Gosh, she was doing this all the way up until 2014.
Holy
Yeah.
Tommy Lee on there?
She ran out of plaster.
There wasn't enough
She
plaster.
did one of the guys from the Dead Kennedys.
Oh,
But
interesting.
Like, yeah, honestly, Jimi Hendrix seems to be the biggest name
Okay.
that I see on here. Like I thought she did more famous people than this,
Just
but
trying to get any person from a band she can grab.
She did a Chris Connolly, ironically enough, from the Revolting Cocks. So,
Little did she know.
yes.
So we find out that like they're worried that the soon to be president's plaster of his dick could be, sold across America, across the world, and it would be embarrassing. And while they're getting all of this information, Tweedledee and Tweedledum are off in the back arguing, and out of nowhere, the one goon turns on not J.K. Simmons and just blows him away.
And this is after they've captured them.
Yes, they've got them. They've got the briefcase. They
ended up going to the hotel room. But there's also a plot line I think we have to mention, that the two at the makeout party, they do the rotation of blow the whistle every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you switch, and then the two friends end up in the same rotation, and Geraldine's character is very uncomfortable with this, and the other character is kind of like,
yeah, man, let's just do it.
Whatever, kind of more of a free spirit. And I guess come to find out, she's liked her for longer than she's let on. But Geraldine ends up leaving, hightailing out of there. A cop pulls her over, and she just
arrests her,
gives them some attitude, so she gets arrested
which she
for
didn't.
vagrancy.
Like that was the other thing, is like the guy, she didn't answer his questions but well. Never mind.
And this is another reason why the film feels incompetent, because it ends on Margaret Qualley's character. I just can't remember their names because I don't care enough about the characters. I'm sorry. But Jamie goes to the hotel room. She finds out that Miriam's not there. And then come to find out, we see her in lockup. She does this little dream to where she found herself as a young girl, saw a neighbor topless. And
neighbor wasn't just topless.
Okay, but you see her topless by the pool, and so anyway, we kind of get some insight into that. But then the next morning, they're both in a car driving.
Well, she says, "Thanks for bailing me out."
Okay, but like in a competent film editing pacing wise,
I don't know that.
That's a really weird beat. The fact that she goes to the hotel, and the big thing is like, where is she? And then you clip to her in the hotel dreaming, and then you wake up and they're in the car. Like, there has to be a beat of her finding out she was in jail, bailing her out of jail. Like, it just skips over an entire beat.
Yeah,
Name
I
another
guess.
movie where it ends up in like, oh my God, where is she? And then thanks for bailing me out. That's just
Right.
weird.
You at least get it in like some sort of montage.
Yeah,
of,
that's
That's
like,
fair. Yeah.
You know,
Anything.
They play
A phone call or
they
something.
play Blue Bayou again while she is
Yeah.
going to prison or jail to bail her out.
It's just
Yeah,
that's
right.
a very strange beat in a movie. I've never seen that before, and to me that felt incompetent. I'm just like,
well,
what?
the whole movie did.
They
but-
didn't film a scene where, and then later on we find out one of the soccer girls, I guess, had money, and she used her money because
That's how they track it.
Jamie was hooking up with a girl, and I guess she had money, and she paid to bail her out.
Right.
But it's just weird they did that whole thing where like the conversation exposition
It's done off
explains what you
camera.
didn't see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So they
They go to a hotel, do the funny check-in thing with the card, and
Correct.
I did
They-
kind of like the one thing I did like that Jamie, the Margaret Qualley character, does is like, will you accept this card? And the guy's like, we accept everybody. Well, this does give a portion to the LGBTQ, whatever. And
He's
he
like,
goes,
okay.
I believe that would be up to the payment processor. Like, I like the idea of having this ridiculous conversation.
we should,
and-
so they go back to this hotel and they decide to hook up with each other. And then
Jamie wines and dines her.
she
Takes
does.
her out to expensive
She
dinner.
because that's how Geraldine likes it.
Mhm.
You know. Then they leave, right?
But
oh no, she leaves. Geraldine leaves, and then when she comes back,
no, Geraldine wakes up.
oh, that's right, she wakes up, and
They-
Margaret Qualley is
Yeah.
again. It's just going to town.
Jamie goes down on her. She has the orgasm that
Falls
the whole
asleep.
movie she's been trying to like, you need to get laid, you need to get laid. She gets it and instantly falls asleep.
I've been there.
And then Jamie,
Again, this is,
All
how
right,
you,
all right, all right.
this is how you know it's written by a man.
Yes, right.
but then she wakes up and you hear this like just like knocking and like,
Well, she's like getting like shooken.
Yeah.
Shooken.
not
shook.
stirred.
Not what?
She woke up to a stir though.
That's true.
kidding.
And we find out that Jamie has opened the case and is using
Going to town.
the congressman's dildo. And then they leave, but they're missing the one.
No, the goons bust in on him.
Oh, that's
they
right,
found him
that's
because
right.
Coleman Domingo calls and says, "Where are you, idiots? Oh, we're on the track. They sent us to whatever." And he goes, "Yeah, they just used the credit card. They're in Tallahassee. Get there." And they're
Right.
like, "Oh man!" And then this guy gets mad because he's like, "I got played by these girls." Because he was all nice and being like, "This is what being nice gets you," and he feels dumb because
Right.
he was manipulated.
Right.
But they show up there, bust in, and the other goon, not J.K. Simmons, busts in with a gun and is
Yeah.
like pointing it everywhere.
I was like, well, put that thing
And
away.
then the girls just scream back and forth. And,
Yes, and it's like, we'll just take the briefcase and we'll be out of here. It's fine. But of course, they get taken, and we find out that they've left the one that they're after the most. They've left it in the hotel room. There's a maid who finds it. I thought this scene was kind
This
of.
is the one thing I laughed at.
I thought this scene was funny.
The
I
bow.
like this.
the
yes,
bow,
the bow.
because that's what a maid would do.
Right.
A maid would not be shocked. I assure you,
Absolutely not
That is not
shocked.
the first dildo
Won't
left
be the
in a
last
hotel
either-
room.
either.
And this is why you get a maid as co-writer of the movie.
Yes.
Every single character
right,
needs
right.
a co-writing credit.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're
But-
learning.
But so at first I was just like, well, but if they're still staying there, I'm like, this sucks because what they're going to do is it's going to be lost because the maid gets rid of it. And I'm like, well, that sucks. And they're going to send us on this whole other goose chase. I did like that since she was just doing the turn down service and cleaning the room, they weren't checked out yet. So I like that she left it.
And
then
with
the
the little bow was my favorite part.
Yeah,
That's very
absolutely.
funny. So they end up at this dog track. Goon number 1 shoots goon number 2, and as goon number 3 is like, "Hey man, what's going on?" He shoots that guy, and it's funny. It's definitely an action movie kid thing that I paid is like shots. So I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
he should be out. In this movie though, I don't know.
I think he only shoots 5 times, and that's why I thought there'd be 1 bullet left in the revolver. I believe because I was counting. I'm like, oh, that's 5.
doesn't he
There's
go?
going to be
Doesn't
one
he go
left.
over and shoot the
Does
guy
he
on the
shoot?
ground one more time?
Extra.
It
I
doesn't
can't remember,
matter.
but I was trying to keep track of that too.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, one's going to be stuck, and I thought he was going to kill himself with the last one. I was trying to predict.
And
like, how
then he
is
does this weird ass run
Then he
where he just
runs
runs away.
away, yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
if you're gonna tie somebody's arms, or tie somebody to a chair, don't just tie their arms behind their back and put them like the back. Just stand up. That's all those girls had to do was stand up,
Well,
and they
don't
were
you
off
think
the
they had it
chair.
around their body too,
No.
and the hands?
No, I mean no. It was just
Oh.
their arms.
Well, I would not put it past this movie. I'm going to give you the credit on this one. Take your word for it.
So the girls go on the run again. Now they call.
Oh, did you mention all the interstitials about the dog racing in slow motion? I don't know if you
No,
all the slow motion,
Sure
very
didn't.
artistic.
no,
Okay, just curious.
no.
Let's pad this movie out as long. as
Yeah,
possible.
right. Margaret Qualley makes the call to Matt Damon, who is this senator in Tallahassee, and says, hey, we've got that thing that you want. If you want it back, it's $1 million. Meet us at the, what was the name of this place? Because even the name of the place, I was like, in 1994, this would have been a funny name.
It was a gay bar, but it had a she shed.
The She Shed.
The She Shed.
And it's like, stupid. So stupid.
Yeah.
I had one in my head. I'm not going to say it. When we stop recording, I'll say it. So they go there, and it's a redo of the scene with Pedro Pascal, where Matt Damon is sitting in the booth, doing the same thing, checking his watch, looking at the door. The girls show up. They open it up. There's everything. They give him the money, and then they start to leave.
Give him the head, and he takes it.
And
willingly,
he takes it.
Which why would you?
Why would lesbians give a man head?
Thank you.
It's a great first scene in the whole movie.
Why would you? I mean, I get that the senator has hired all these guys and they have goons and they do this dirty work. I still don't know why they have the head. But if you're the senator, why would you walk around the maybe next president with a head on your person? You know that's not going to end well.
You got people for that.
That's exactly right.
I just thought that was the dumbest thing, and it's all for that stupid head rolling.
Yeah, and we should say that, like, earlier in the movie, Margaret calls her ex-girlfriend and says, hey, if you can go down, like, I'm telling you the story, go look at Curly's whatever, and if you do this for me, I will take this dog, who was just this annoying-ass dog. So, of course, the cop goes to the takeaway car place, and Curly's on the ground. I laughed at this scene where he throws the papers, and he's laying on the ground, he can't get up, throws the papers in the air, and he just goes, why won't anybody help Curly? And I don't know why that one hit for me, but it made me laugh.
I just can't believe she didn't see all those papers up in the air.
She's the most effective when it comes to beating up the guys, and then ineffective when it's like, you didn't notice that his place got tossed.
Ineffective detective.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I just
trademark it. There's your T-shirt for this episode.
The things she would have to be. I mean, her back wasn't turned. I don't care if it's dark or not. She's shining her flashlight around.
She'd see the papers go up.
You would see the papers, and that he made he made it rain papers from tons of papers he threw up. I just thought that was really dumb that she didn't see.
Right.
It, but.
So. We all end up at the same place.
Yes, because your girlfriend would always fly to Tallahassee when your ex is on a road trip. You would fly there just to give her the dog instead of waiting another day or two. That's exactly what.
Right. But this is kind of a Coen Brothers thing where all of our characters kind of converge at the end. Like all of their different plot lines kind of meet up at the same point.
Like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
It's right. That's right.
But they generally have some semblance of
because of the other brother.
I'm sure. I just
that's exactly what it is. Like Joel Coen is probably much better at tying everything together.
Probably.
Yeah, I will say that the Fargo TV show is amazing.
I've never seen it.
It's amazing,
and I got bored like halfway through the first season.
Oh man, I loved it. But maybe it's because I love Fargo. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I love Fargo.
Oh, okay.
Call me out.
Sorry,
Fargo. Yeah, right. Who doesn't
Fargo?
Who doesn't love Fargo?
But it does feel, that show to me felt very much like the movie. Every season felt very much like the movie.
Isn't Ewan McGregor in one of those?
He's
seasons,
in like the
second
third
season?
or fourth season. Maybe.
I want to watch that.
Patrick Wilson's in one season.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. As a young Ted Danson, I think. Like Ted Danson is a character in the first season.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then Patrick Wilson plays him as a
I
younger
see what you're
version
saying.
in
Whatever
the
his
second
character
season.
was. I thought he was actually playing Ted Danson.
No.
That's
No,
hilarious.
he's playing the same character,
Got
just
it,
a
got it,
younger
got it.
version.
So they all converge.
Yeah,
on
they
the
all
street
converge,
outside
and
of
of course Matt Damon is
for some reason has to take them out. I guess to just
no witnesses.
bury the evidence.
I guess so. He puts on a mask, a ski mask.
Another thing that, like, again, like you have people like you would tell the goons to go find them.
Well, the goons are dead.
They died.
What?
Oh, the one ran away. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I think the one quit.
Yeah,
the
that's
one
right.
quit,
Yeah,
and the other.
He did say, "I'm sorry, Mom." That's the line he says and runs away. And it's like, what?
I guess that was.
What the
I
hell?
totally missed that.
Yeah,
That's a weird.
That's-
Quirky,
yeah, right.
But I still don't like. Would you really do that? That's so dumb.
It's so dumb. This whole movie's dumb. Matt Damon's gonna shoot the girls, and of course, Beanie sees this guy in a mask and turns around and shoots. It pulls a gun out from the dog caddy, like she's John McClane off of his back, and shoots Matt Damon. And then there's a thing in the paper about how the senator was the center of this plot or whatever.
Is she supposed to? Are we supposed to believe that she checked that on the airplane in the dog?
I
thing?
mean, it's definitely, we see the dog carrier in the luggage compartment. So yes.
Yeah, but I mean, like, because if you're trying to hide it, that's weird. But then also, why not just wear it if you're walking around?
Also,
like,
she's a cop. She can wear it.
that's what I'm saying.
That's true.
I don't understand.
If Die Hard has taught me anything.
Why are they?
Especially pre 9/11.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
Why were you hiding it in the dog carrier?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Why? I just
To get to here.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. So we meet Geraldine's aunt, who is a black woman. And it's like, I don't know what they were trying to
do or say here. Yeah, I
Like-
don't really.
and then they make a comment, that so basically Margaret Qualley has made molds of the extra molds, and I was like, oh, she's just going to manufacture it now. Like, that's what she's going to do. They make a comment about the amount of money people would pay for a mold of a senator's dick, and I was like, oh, she's just gonna, that's what she's going to do. But then she leaves them behind, and some stupid bellboy finds them and gives it like a wink at the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, go fuck yourself. Like, good Lord.
I think he is.
There might be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Bad.
But then
bad.
like the scene is they're all three of these women are in the front seat of this car, and Geraldine's like, don't say, like, she's conservative, don't say anything. And then they make a comment about moving to Massachusetts.
And then they steal the ending from Some Like It Hot.
Is that right?
I mean, at the ending of Some Like It Hot, an old guy is. I mean, I felt like a riff on that, but Jack Lemmon, dressed as a woman the whole time. This older rich guy is in love with him as a her,
Right.
And I will say him because he's not trans. He's
Correct.
just pretending to be a woman.
Yep.
And then like it's considered like it's considered like the funniest line of all time.
That's
like
right.
and that they're in a boat driving away, and Jack Lemmon's dressed up as a woman, and Jack Lemmon's giving them all these reasons they can't be together. Like, oh, we can't be together because I don't even remember what he says, but like, oh, you're Catholic and I'm Jewish, and we can't be together because you're rich and I'm poor. And then finally Jack Lemmon goes, damn it, I'm a man. And he pulls his wig off, and the guy just kind of keeps looking straight ahead, and he's just like, nobody's perfect. And like, that's how the movie
Billy
ends.
Wilder, that was a filmmaker right there.
And that's a really, for what, 1957
It's really progressive.
or
Billy
whatever?
Wilder was
That's
making
a super edgy joke. Not just joke, but to end your
End your
film
movie
on
on
that.
that?
This guy's like, I don't care
Right,
that
right,
you're
right.
a dude. I'm down.
He was doing stuff. Billy Wilder's movies, he did not care what the society
He's
said
a
at the
massive
time.
blind spot for me.
You need to go back
Yeah,
and watch
yeah,
that.
yeah,
stuff.
And they hold up.
The Apartment, that's him too, right?
Dude, The
Yeah,
Apartment seems like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
written last year.
The
It
Apartment
is so
is like-
modern. It's ridiculous.
It's like if they made an episode of Mad Men during that era.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
okay.
it's like you will be stunned just with the sensibilities of this movie that it is 60 years old.
Yeah, I remember watching it for the first time, and I'm just like, I cannot believe how good this is, and it does not feel dated. And
Right.
How did he write that long ago, and
Yeah.
it feels as fresh as ever?
Stalag 17.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, she says, we're going to move to Massachusetts. Why? Women can get married there.
And then the aunt's like,
And it's like,
Okay.
even Geraldine's like, "Brr."
and then
and they
she's like,
drive
that's,
off.
That's nice, sweetie, or something.
Yeah,
and
and it's
then-
like, oh, okay. Yeah, like that's.
yeah, right.
And that's why it very much seems similar to
That's
Something
fair.
Like It Hot. to
That's
me.
fair. Man, we said before that January and February tend to be a dumping ground. I feel like this January and February
been bad.
has been one of the worst in a long
I think
time.
COVID into the strike has really caused
Yeah.
a dearth of material.
Yeah, this has not been a good. Have we had anything that we're just like, that's fantastic? Iron Claw, or was that
But
last
that was
year?
odd. That technically came out last
Yeah,
year.
that's-
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just feel like there hasn't been, and it's not getting any better.
I don't think there's been anything like we used to get the January, February.
You get like one or two
the
would
counter
sneak in there.
programming horror in February
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
really
yeah.
good, and all we've gotten was Night Swim and Madam Web and
Yeah.
Argyle, which again I enjoyed, but like wasn't great. It wasn't the best thing.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
It's been really bad.
No, it's been real bad.
This is disappointing because I love the Coen brothers. I think they have a
And I
great
love the
finale.
idea of this type of movie. I was
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
the trailer. I was like, oh, that looks like a fun kind of throwback movie like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was down,
and it
and it
didn't-
was
I was not.
horrible.
Yeah, real bad.
And yeah, if this didn't have a Coen brother attached to it,
Oh.
those reviews, it would not be sitting at 60% or whatever.
I don't look up the Rotten Tomatoes until after I see a movie because, I don't watch trailers, but I also don't want to get any kind of conceit like, oh, I'm going into a bad one.
Right.
I just don't want to know. So I always look up the score right after and I go, is the consensus what I'm thinking? Like Madam Web, I'm like, okay, that checks out.
Right.
And I looked this one up and it said 67% critics. Now, audience was way low. But I looked at that and I go, what? Like,
I think you're absolutely right. I think they're afraid to say anything bad about a Coen
which is
Brothers movie.
crazy. Like, just do it. There's no way that many people liked this movie.
No.
But I think it also has the LGB. It's a Coen brother and
there are probably some people afraid that, like, well, if I don't like this movie, is it some sort of a commentary on the LGBT community? And I'm just like, no, I don't like this because I like the LGBT.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And it's like,
yes.
And if you listen to this podcast, like clearly that's not where we're coming from.
Right.
People, our detractors call us woke.
Right.
It's so, but this is a bad movie.
It's a bad movie, and that's the bottom line. Yeah, it's just a bad movie.
Bafflingly bad from such a storied filmmaker, and again, co-writer is an editor on a lot of the Coen movies. So like the creatives involved are talented, the people involved are talented.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
It's just a bad screenplay from beginning to end.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett.
And this is Tom. Follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/Real Spoilers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, JD steals the women's money.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we always